belly jiggling. You should get an underwater shot, man.
I ain't got the dang thing.
Oh.
Let go.
You got your hand?
Yeah. How we release them, baby. Just as healthy as we call. What's up?
Wes, can you see me?
I can see you. Can you see me?
No. My
I'm here.
yeah, my screen just went black. Hang on a second.
Baby, we're experiencing technical difficulties.
Oh no, what happened?
I don't know. I think he's got it now.
There it goes. I can see now.
Can you see me?
Yeah.
Hello.
What's going on, buddy?
I don't know. Just thought we might like to talk about fishing tonight. You know, listen, I thought it was cool. I didn't realize that we were like on YouTube. So are we like live on YouTube too?
Yes.
How does that work?
Yeah, we're live on YouTube, live on Facebook. We're live in that Facebook group, Real Fishermen, that we don't ever visit.
Damn.
But yeah. You know,
Well, go ahead.
whenever you go out to the tower, you're going to really like it because you're going to be on your way out there and you're going to be looking at the horizon. You're not going to see anything. You're going to get out there about, I don't know, 5 or 6 miles till you get there. 5 or 6 miles left till you get to the tower. And all of a sudden, it's just going to, boop, it's going to pop up on the horizon.
Start right on the curvature.
Yeah, like look at the map when you're on your way out there, because you can see it on your map. And whenever you get about, I don't know, 8 miles from it, go ahead and start looking at the horizon. And as you, because we can't see, but I guess it's because of the curvature of the earth. I don't know for sure, but I want to say about 6 miles, 6 miles maybe. Mm-hmm.
Well, I watched a video on that thing, and the guy that bought it, he turned it into a motel, like an Airbnb. And then I think they called it like the world's most dangerous motel. And I was looking at some of the video, and this guy's walking around with this little piece of chisel, like a pry bar, and he's chiseling away like, looks like what's 2 and 3 inches thick of rust.
Yeah, it's bad.
So my thing is, my question was, how can you actually rent something that's supposedly so unsafe and advertise it, and people want to live in it because it's the most unsafe motel in the world?
I mean, it's probably got something to do with the fact that it's in federal waters, maybe.
That's probably got something to do with international waters.
International waters.
International waters.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's survived how many hurricanes?
Oh, numerous.
Oh my God. It's been there since was it the Second World War?
30s or 40s. And then, the guy, he said, here's the deal. He said, when I bought this, he said, I won it in an auction for $80,000. Yep. And he said, what's crazy is I didn't realize it till after I bought it. He said,
I think he was from Charlotte.
Yeah. He said, I could did anything in the world I wanted with it. He said, I could have made it a brothel. He said, we could have made it a whorehouse.
Oh, God,
We could have made it a restaurant. We could have did anything we wanted to with it because it's in international waters. And, it looks like they did some renovating to it. He spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on it. But they said what was crazy was the only way to get out to it, of course, is by helicopter or by boat.
Mm-hmm.
And they say it stays full. There's always somebody there now. So.
I know most times I've been out there, there was people there. And I actually saw a guy bow fishing from this. He was like on this this contraption, and it was hooked to like a pulley system, and they were actually lowering him down, and he was actually bow fishing for barracuda, sharks, like anything that would come by. There's videos on YouTube of guys actually spearfishing African pompano. They're underwater. I think it's like 60 foot. It's either 40 something feet deep or 60 something feet deep out there. But yeah, man, they got their wetsuits on. They go on. You could see the bottom of the pier because it's clear out there.
Yeah.
And I could not imagine how scary that would. I would probably do it one time, but I would definitely want to do it with an experienced diver.
Yeah.
But I would probably do that. I mean, because you can see so well, you know what I mean? And sharks
right now
are so docile. Sharks that are just swimming around, just taking it easy. Those sharks aren't you don't have to worry about those. It's the ones that swim away and then come at you fast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you have to have your eyes on at all times, Man, that would be awesome.
They're getting hit with a nor'easter right now. I talked to Chris Hovis today. Chris said it's actually washed some houses completely off the beach.
Oh my God. You should have seen that house I saw Hatteras that yeah, man, it was, I forget what number that house was, but it took a bunch of them.
Well, Peter said that we're going to try to go. He said right now, he said after a nor'easter, you usually need at least 3 days, maybe a little bit longer, give or take.
I like
water
that.
to calm back down.
I like that.
Yeah. He said we'd go out to the tower, maybe fish around it a little bit to see what's there. But he said he's going to take me on out a little bit further and maybe troll for some mahi and some wahoo.
The thing about going to the tower is it's like for some reason I haven't ever been able to figure this out, but I've always felt safe going out to the tower. Like when I go offshore fishing, I could go out 50 miles to tent breaks and troll or what have you. And I would always have my wits about me. I would be on high alert. You know what I mean? But when I go to the tower, it's almost like I just relax. It's just fun. It's like I don't really. I guess it's a false sense of security. I guess because I've been out there so many times.
Well, they're saying there's always somebody there. It's like a community hole in the ocean.
Yeah, so I mean it's still 35 miles out. You're still offshore. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I mean, you still feel safer though. You got a lot of more people around you. You got radios.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
Somebody is there.
Yeah, that's it. That's what it is, Wes. You're right.
I mean, that's what I would think. For me, that's what it would be.
Yep, that's exactly what it is.
But Jeff Phil said, "Don't worry about that." He said, "The Earth is not round; it's flat. You can still fall off the end of it."
That's kind of why I brought that up, Jeff. Is because that's hard for a flat earther to explain. And you don't really see people you hear people mentioning the curvature of the earth, but anytime they reference a boat disappearing on looking at the ocean, they always reference it from the beach. They always say, stand on the beach and look out. Get in a boat and go out to Frying Pan Tower. That's like the best way you can see the earth's curvature right there, because it literally just pops up just out of nowhere.
You know what I thought was crazy? I was watching that video and I didn't know this. Did you know that we have a such thing as light pollution?
Light pollution. I've heard of light pollution. Yeah. So it got something to do with, is it some kind of gamma ray or something.
Well, no, I'm talking about lights from man-made, from power, from cities.
Oh yeah.
And he said like when you're out, and it showed some videos. This guy was out
Atmospheric
doing
pollution.
videos when they were out there on the tower looking up. It's
Yeah,
like you can literally see millions of stars.
yeah. That's what I was
The
telling
reason
you.
you can't see them around here, or like in most of the cities and stuff, because you've got so much light contamination that you can't even see, but it's there.
Yeah, light
When
pollution.
you're out like that, there's no light. That it's like, and without a moon, they said the ocean's one of the darkest places in the world.
Oh my god! Especially
like
on a new moon.
Yeah.
God, it's so scary. It's like I've been out there before on my. We spent too much time fighting a shark out there one year and started back. It was already dusky dark when we started back from the tower, and so we came back in the pitch black darkness. That last little bit of the trip was pitch black darkness, and that was. But it reminds me of just talking about the light pollution out there and how the atmosphere is so much clearer out there, and you can see like so many more stars and constellations and stuff. I mean, that is awesome. I love science and astrology and all that stuff amazes me. But do you remember? It's probably been 10 or 12 years ago, but there was a guy that he got thrown out of his boat, and he didn't have a kill switch. He got thrown out of his boat, and his boat stayed in gear and it kept going. And they ended up finding his boat. I want to say they found it in Cuba.
Damn.
Yeah.
Where was he out of?
Florida? This was local. This was, I want to say this was like the Grand Strand area, maybe Holden Beach, Little River.
Would it run out of gas and then just drifted the rest of the way down there?
Yes. Okay. So this guy's out there. He spends, I want to say 27 hours. It was something like crazy like that. It might maybe 48 or maybe, I don't think it was any more than 48 hours, but it was 20, at least 20 something hours. So he's out there treading water. He's watching his boat go out of sight. No life jacket. He's just floating on his back. And he is, I want to say 15 miles, something like that. Like he's out, you can't see land. He's out there. So this guy is freaking treading water, floating on his back. And he said that what he did was he waited till it got dark before he even tried to swim in any kind of direction. He waited till it got dark and he looked at the horizon, and you could, from it being so dark out there and not having any light pollution, you could see the light on the horizon, even though he was 15 miles out or, that far out. So he started slowly, not wasting using the least amount of energy as possible. And he started backstroking, and he made it. But when he finally got up on the beach, he couldn't even stand up. They had to, send paramedics out there and get him on a stretcher. Like he couldn't walk. But he said when he was out there at night, because I think he spent more than one night out there, but he said that sharks would gather up around him, and he said they would swim around him and swim through him. And he said their dorsal fins would be rubbing up against the bottom of his legs.
Really?
Yeah. Could you imagine? Oh my! I mean, once it gets to that point, I guess you probably kind of go into almost a Joker-like state. You probably just start laughing, and you're probably just like, start talking crap to the sharks. You know what I mean? I mean, because
what's his name did when he was talking to that damn soccer ball on Castaway.
Yeah,
Wilson.
like Wilson. Yeah.
Wilson.
Yeah, you're probably just like, when they brush up against your leg, you're probably like, is that all you got? Is that all you got?
Yeah.
Come get some.
Well, I don't know. I'm not going to say I won't never do it, but most of the time, if I go out in the ocean, I'm going to have somebody with me. Unless I just might be going out of Merle's Inlet or fooling around in Winyah Bay. I'm not going 30 miles out by myself.
That's smart. That is very smart. Let me ask you a question, Wes. Would the 20-year-old version of you do that? Would he go out by himself?
the 20-year-old version of me was just all about smoking dope and being stupid. But yeah, I'd have probably did it if I had a boat. I'd have just did it to be doing it. But
Really?
now, no.
Yeah. I'd like to say that I wouldn't, but I did. I was dumb. I was so dumb. I'm such a late bloomer.
But when you look back at your life, and especially I look back at, a lot of stuff I did over the years, it's just by the grace of God I'm here, because I've always had a mouth on me. I was just a lot more stupider when I was younger than I am now, if you can believe that.
Would you look at what Hovis posted, Wes? I bet Jody works overtime at y'all's house. Oh, it must suck to be a newlywed, Chris.
Yeah.
I've been married for 17 years. My wife, I can do things like this.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's nice. I'm sorry. I'll pray for you, brother.
I know, right? Well, Chris don't have to worry about it because his wife don't let him do shit anyway. That's why he gets comments. I mean, we all know who works best in that family.
Oh God.
So, Chris totally changed when he got married. We know what's up. David Mercer, what are you doing, buddy? David said David is the only person that's come on here tonight that apologized and says he's late. But actually, David, JR is the one's running late. We're supposed to do it at 8 o'clock.
Well, Wes wants to call me at 5 o'clock. Hey, let's do a show tonight.
But I also said, tell the whole story. Dieter Melhorn. I said, are you busy tonight? And your exact words was, I get off at 5 o'clock, and after I get home, I'm free. I ain't got nothing else to do. Ain't that what you said?
I said, I ain't got no plans.
Yeah, okay, exactly.
That don't mean there won't be no plans.
And
got no plans.
And then I get a text about 20 minutes till 8. No, I'm sorry, about 6 o'clock, 6:30. And you said, you're going to take your daughter out the week. Can we do it tomorrow? And I said, yeah, it'll be fine. And then you text me 20 minutes after 8, say, let's go ahead and do the show. I'll be home in 20 minutes. So, David Mercer, you're not the only one late, but at least you apologize. JR didn't even apologize.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, JR, I went to Academy today and I bought me I got 150 or 175 quart cooler. Because I talked to Mike Bradford,
Igloo?
And I damn sure didn't get no 175 quart Yeti.
Right now, that's what I'm using for my catfish tournaments. 150 quart
fish box. But I talked to David and Mike today, and if I go out there fishing, the way I was looking at this, I wasn't thinking about this. When I'm striper fishing, I don't eat fish. I'm gonna net a fish, put him back in the water. Blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. You can't do that out there. So I asked a dumb question. I said, if say I get on some dolphin, I catch them, and just say for instance, I don't want to keep them. I don't want to hit a fish with a gaff and kill it just to turn it back and dump it in the ocean. That's just bullshit. I'm not going to do that. I don't care how many they are.
Right.
So, like he said, just, you can't, he said, the only thing with a dolphin, he said, if you put a dolphin on your boat, they're going to go ape shit crazy like a cobia.
Oh, yeah.
He said, hit them with a gaff, keep them. He said, if not, just try to get one by the tail.
Might want to get you one of those little hard plastic ball bats.
Yeah.
You'll see what I'm talking about.
Like the fish though that I don't want to keep.
It's going to tear that boat up. But the thing is, though, Wes, is like there's no such thing as a catch and release wahoo fisherman. There's no such thing as a catch and release, dolphin or mahi fisherman. Yeah, no such thing as a group or a catch and release group. Yeah, nobody, because that's part of what saltwater fishing is. I mean, that's the entire culture. There's no, like the conservation, you don't have to worry about the conservation like you do in freshwater. I mean, these fish are gold. You can sell these fish to a fish market for, I don't know, $20 a pound.
They're the easiest fish. They say they're the dumbest fish in the ocean.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think any fish is smart though. But yeah, the reason that people call them the dumbest fish in the ocean is the reason they call mahi the dumbest fish in the ocean. The reason they do it, it's not that they're any more dumb than any other fish. It's that they eat more than all other. They have I'm pretty sure they got the fastest growth rate in saltwater. So they're just eating. Yeah, they're eating machines. They eat more than any other fish. So of course they're gonna take a wider variety of baits and all that kind of stuff. it doesn't mean that. I mean, they're still. What's good for us is that they're a delicacy. You don't get any better than mahi. Mahi's grade A. That's, I mean,
It freezes good too.
it's like sushimi grade tuna. Like it's top of the food chain. It is awesome. And then not only that is you get to fight it, which is awesome in and of itself. And then you get to pose with a picture of it because it's like the most beautiful fish in the ocean. You know, those colors. Oh my God. Man, those things will jump out of the water. If mahi are all bull dolphin are just awesome. Now, when you're getting on a crap load of chicken dolphin, yeah, I mean the limit's 10 per person, and they can. It's you kind of look at it as like white perch fishing or something. But when you go out of Hatteras in May and you get on those bull dolphin, those 40-pound dolphin, oh my God, dude, it doesn't really get much better than that.
I've heard that they're good to eat. They freeze good. Now, so is there a limit? Is there a size limit on dolphin, or if it don't matter, you can keep whatever you want? Whatever you catch.
I think it's 10 per person. I don't think there's a size limit.
Oh,
I don't know.
Mike Bradford said, "Catch them and eat them."
Hang on, let's Google that right fast.
What's up, Perry? Send Perry an invite. Perry wants to come on.
No, he don't.
Yeah, just send him an invite. I bet he'll show up.
Ask him, Perry, you want to come on? I'll send you an invite.
He's going to say, nah, we're not talking about striper tonight. You know who we need to get on here one night?
Who?
Mike Bradford.
Yeah, I'd like to have
Mike Bradford is cooler than Freddie Jackson sipping a milkshake.
He is.
He is
I've never met him, and I could tell.
Anybody that don't like Brian Bear in my book is good.
Okay, here we go, Wes. Bluefish, wahoo, cobia, dolphin, king mackerel, Spanish mackerel, tuna, bluefin, big eye, and yellowfin, spiny dogfish, sharks, blue marlin, white marlin, sailfish. Gosh, get to the mahi. Black bass. All right, am I skipping over it?
Are they in alphabetical order?
No. Okay, dolphin. I mean, I was looking for mahi. Okay, 10 per day. No minimum length.
10 per day. Is that out of North Carolina, out of South Carolina?
That is north. That's North Carolina. Yeah.
I was talking to a guy the other night, and he argued me down till he Googled it, and I've knew this for years. And for anybody on here that don't know, a dolphin is a mahi-mahi. Flipper is not a damn dolphin. It's a porpoise. I don't know where that got for years. People always called Flipper a dolphin. A porpoise and a dolphin is two totally different. They're totally different, like night and day. Where did that come? Where did that catch on at, JR? For years, people always thought that Flipper was a dolphin. They say, she's a dolphin.
I'm assuming that maybe from the 70s show Flipper.
But why'd they call her a dolphin? I mean, she's a porpoise.
It is a porpoise, but I thought maybe it was called a dolphin too. Let's Google it.
Nope, a porpoise is a porpoise.
Okay.
Are you and Sean McNew buddies?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, Perry said that you could get McNew to come on here, that you and him were buddies. Oh, Peter Mercer said it's probably the Miami Dolphins mascot. See, they even call that a dolphin.
Okay, here's the explanation. It's not just a difference in colloquial name.
Colloquial.
Dolphins and porpoises are actually entirely different families of cetaceans. In fact, the Encyclopedia of Marine Mammals points out porpoises and dolphins are as horses and cows or cats and dogs. Porpoises belong to the Phocinidae family.
I don't know about all that. Them words I can't pronounce, but I
Yeah,
know
I can't pronounce it either.
I know flipper is a porpoise, not a dolphin.
Where did that? That's a good question, Wes. Where'd that come from?
You know, I noticed last night Perry was talking about. You know, they were talking about, and I didn't even think about it because something else came up. But they kept talking about how hard it was to catch dolphin. You know, they were real smart and they would eat your bait right off the hook. And I was thinking, Perry, it's not a dolphin. It's a fucking porpoise.
I think I called it a bottlenose dolphin.
I'm trying to piss him off so he'll get on here and talk shit, but it probably ain't gonna happen. Shane Real said it's a fucking catfish.
Shane Real likes them catfish. Don't let him fool you. It looks like that being such a myth or people misusing it so often. It looks like there'd be some article on it. I'm not seeing anything.
But yeah, I said I went and got me a cooler today, and listen, I walk in Academy, right, and I'm looking for that cooler. So I got one of these new bag coolers. It's got like the airtight zip on it. It was made by Magellan, and it's not like
Magellan.
It might be Magellan, and it might be 18 inches high. You know, you could put maybe 2 6-packs in it, something like that.
Yeah.
It was a bag cooler, but it was hard lined with some kind of special foam in it. I just throw it up on the counter. You know, hell, I didn't think it would be $20 or $30. You know, that son of a bitch was $90.
Well,
and I said, wait a minute. I said, you're telling me this little cooler is more expensive than this 175 quart cooler Igloo? And I said, could you check that price again? She said, yes, sir. And she scanned it. That thing come up $89. She said, well, do you want it? I said, yeah, I'm going to have it anyway. So
no, wait a minute, Wes. Wait a minute. Okay, I got it figured out. The short-nosed dolphin, the dolphins do look like porpoises. They look like them, but they're totally different species.
Flipper is not a fucking dolphin, Scott Perry. You're not going to make me mad. You can Google it all you want to. I knew that in high school.
Let's see.
David Mercer Jr., check your messages, JR. David Mercer, when am I going to get a honky hat? You ain't sent me shit.
No, that's not David Mercer. That's Matthew Miles.
Well, Matthew Miles, is he on here? I want something too. Oh, no, David Mercer owns the tackle shop.
I'm sorry, Wes. You're wrong on the porpoise.
No, I'm not.
Flipper was a bottlenose dolphin, the same species that charms the coast of Virginia and North Carolina by the thousands during warmer months of the year. Dolphins and porpoises have about the same color pattern, but dolphins can grow to 12 feet in length, while porpoises are typically a few feet shorter.
Well, you just said in the first thing that you read that they're not in the same family.
They're not, but they look alike.
Yeah, but they're not in the same family. They're different.
Right. A porpoise is shorter. Yes, they are in a different family.
Yeah.
But Flipper was a bottlenose dolphin, though.
Flipper was a porpoise.
Well, I'm just telling you what Google says. That's according to.
Do you believe everything you hear on the internet?
Well, I mean, I could do a deep dive and fact check it, but pilotonline.com. Wildlife.
But no, nature. It's like I said anyway. So I go in Academy to buy this stuff, and then I got to adding it up last night. I'm $2,000, over $2,000 into this, and the boat hadn't even seen salt water yet. Mm-hmm. So
I have that same cooler you have. I got that big Igloo. My cousin bought it that's what we used for our ice box.
Fish box, yeah.
And now I use it for a catfish live well.
And then David Mercer's Mike Bradford, he said he's got a kill bag. I can also put on there, just in case.
That's awesome. I always wanted one of those. Those things are expensive, man.
Yeah, but I got connections. I know people. But yeah, you know what's really weird though? It's all these adventures that I go on and stuff that I like to do is that I can put it on Facebook I know a lot of people think I'm crazy, but asking these questions and stuff, and so many people just wants to help me. You know what I'm saying? And I just think that's really amazing. And you ask people, and then you look back on their Facebook, just like Peter Malik. I'd have never had a clue. I've seen him on Facebook a lot. He watches the show all the time. I don't think Peter will mind me saying this. We were talking, and I asked him what he did for a living, and he said, "Well, no, let me take that back. I was telling him the story about me flying from Tennessee to New Jersey to fish in a scalper tournament. We won that tournament, and we were talking and everything. And anyway, I said, and that flying's just not my thing. I said, I wouldn't give a damn if I ever flew again. I said, I flew with some airline called Allegiant, and they put us on this big raggedy ass airplane that sounded like it was going to crack and pop.
It's cheap though. It's cheap.
Yeah. And, I said, I'm just not going to do that again. And I said, and then we kept on talking. I said, so what do you do for a living, David? And he said, he kind of laughed. He said, I'm an airplane pilot. I said, no shit. And he said, yeah, really. I said, who do you fly for? And he said, Allegiant. Listen, it gets better. And I said, what kind of planes do you fly? He said, Airbuses. And that's what I was talking about that I flew on.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of interesting. But yeah, David, I've talked to him a couple of times, and him and Mike has really gave me a lot of insight, and a lot of it is different than freshwater, but he said, don't read into it. He said, everything you're going to watch these videos and stuff, and a lot of this is just what these people do. There's a lot of different ways you can do the same thing and get the same results, just like scalper fishing.
It's good. It's good info. It's good advice. I mean, you should really tie up your time into finding fish.
Yeah.
If you can find the fish, you'll catch them. But some fish like wahoo, for example, you're trolling fast for them. You just got to, I think the best thing to do with those are just to go hit the temp brakes.
Yeah.
And you just have to cover a crap ton of water. I mean, it's just about, but you can cover a lot of water when you're high speed trolling. So,
yeah. But there again, when you find them, it's worth every mile. So.
Shane said, now that I've niched down, when will the influx of views take place on your channel? It's funny. My daughter tried to correct me yesterday. She said that she's like, Dad, it's not pronounced niche, it's pronounced niche. And I said, no, I said, you can pronounce it either way. I said, Daryl Eves pronounces it niche. The biggest podcast on Spotify about YouTube influencing Dusty, he pronounces it niche. And if you look it up, it has both pronunciations, niche or niche. So it's like Caribbean and Caribbean. But to answer your
crappie or crappie.
Right. But to answer your question, Shane, see, when will my influx of views take place? My influx of views are going to take place when I start uploading quality content consistently. Live streams don't do it. They do help. They're good. Like the watch time and all of the different analytics for a live stream, they don't rate it the same way they do in a video, a pre-recorded, edited video. They don't. The watch time doesn't mean as much. So lives are good, like as an addition. But if all you do is lives, you're not really going to. You're going to trickle, kind of like Catfish Weekly has done for the past 10 years. So until I start uploading weekly content, that of course it's going to be good quality. But if I upload just weekly content, then I will actually take off. I actually stopped YouTube. I stopped being consistent like right before I took off. That's usually right when YouTubers take off, is when they get around 2,000 subscribers. If they continue uploading weekly good content, that's usually when the algorithms really start to recommend your videos and stuff, and you really start to grow. And
it's kind of like
I stopped.
Medley. Just like if you right now, if you type in anything on YouTube that's got the word striper in it, Mike Smedley's the first thing will come up.
Right. Because he gets the watch time.
Yeah.
And all of his videos are all evergreen content.
Yeah.
Pretty much every video Mike's ever done, people are even 10 years ago, people are still watching them today.
Yeah.
They're evergreen. They never, and a lot of my videos are not like that at all. I need to focus more on evergreen content. It just comes down to, it's just like anything else. You're going to reap what you sow. You're going to get fruit from, what is the saying, from your bearing fruit. It's what you put. Kid Rock said it best. You get what you put in, and people get what they deserve. And I don't put the time and effort into it. It's a lot of time and effort.
People like me and you, though, we work. Believe it or not, people say I don't work. Yes, I do work.
That's no excuse. There are a lot of guys that work. I could do it. It's just, I just don't want to do it bad enough to do it. I mean, I know what it takes, but that's what people don't understand, is they want to like give you a hard time and poke fun at you. But of course I would love to have 1 million subscribers. Who wouldn't? But it's a lot of work, and I don't feel like doing it. It's not that important.
Then you have to work even harder to maintain that.
Yeah, it's really not that hard. I mean, it's
hard. If it ain't that hard to do
it, it don't mean that much to me, Wes. It's hard to. Yeah, I'm not that mad at them. Yeah, it doesn't really mean that. I mean, yeah, I love it, but it's not a number one priority for me.
Yeah,
on my hierarchy of priorities, it's on down the list a little ways. It's just not something that. Maybe I will decide to do it one day.
Well, maybe Shane Real just said, hell, Scott Perry's a YouTube striper fishing legend.
Scott Perry knows exactly what I'm talking about, because Scott could be huge on YouTube if he wanted to. He knows what it takes to do it, but he's not doing it either. But nobody's poking at him,
That's because he's got them big, massive arms.
He could do it. He could do the same. He's in pretty much the same position I am, and he could.
So what does people get? Does YouTube pay you? You get like so much money a month if you get so many views, or how do they do that?
There's different levels of it. There are people that do it just for a hobby, which is pretty much what I do. I'll upload a video maybe once a month. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then there are some people that run it as a business. And then you have different levels to that as well. You have people that upload every day. You have people that just put a lot of time and energy into it. It depends on what kind of resources you have. If you do have to work a full-time job,
time you have.
Right. If you got to work a full-time job, you may not have time to, some people strive to become full-time on YouTube. I think that's what Dieter's trying to do. A friend of mine is already making what we make. He works where I work, and he already makes what we make at where I work at on his YouTube. Like, you can seriously legit like make a living off of YouTube. I get paid. I think I make about maybe $30 a month, and I mean, of course I'm not trying, but I'm just the videos that I get out there.
What are they paying you for? Just because people's watching your stuff, why are they paying you?
Right. Well, there's ads. You monetize your videos, and what that means is you turn the ads on. Anytime you see an ad on a YouTube video, that's not YouTube doing that. That's the creator turning those ads on. And
so it's kind of like when you're watching a movie and you're into a
commercials
video, and then 4 minutes into it, it'll stop,
right?
And it'll say, and sometimes it won't
been brought to you.
It makes you watch it, especially like a 12, 15 second. It won't let you skip it.
You can put skippable ads on your video. Anytime you're watching a ad on someone's YouTube video, if it's not skippable, then they made it that way. They chose to not make it skippable. So you can get pissed off at the creator for that. Okay. All of my ads on my videos, the ones that are monetized, are all skippable ads. Yes, I monetized them, but at least I did make it skippable and only put like one on it. So
what I'm saying though is, how do you get paid for that? They just see
the ads. No, the ads. All of the companies, like, for example, the toy industry, the YouTube content creator toy industry, like reviewing toys for children and stuff
like that. Did you see that little kid that did those reviews on toys, and they made like millions of dollars?
Right.
Insane.
Because they market like if you watch my videos or Dieter's videos or Catfish Dave's videos, anybody in the fishing niche, there's going to be fishing related ads. There'll be Bass Pro ads. There'll be, gun ads. They just the algorithms pick the ads, or you can actually pick the ads if you want, or you can narrow it down if you wanted to. But
Yeah.
and yeah, that's how you get paid. It's the ads. And you can, if your video is at least 10 minutes long, then you can actually put an ad like in the middle of your video too.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I've just learned a lot of stuff from YouTube since I figured out. I actually, believe it or not, Lori said she couldn't believe it. I took the bait tank out of my boat today and put that fish cooler box in there. So this summer, I don't know if I will. I may not striper fish none this summer. I'm just going to concentrate on this and make sure and see if I like it, and then if I really do and stick with it, of course, I'll probably buy a bigger boat. It's just something I want to try, and I may not like it. I may get out there and say, the hell with this. I've been trolling for 8 hours and hadn't got a bite. But, I striper fished for a year before I ever caught a decent sized striper. I had that. There's just something to me, being out there on that boat, you're trolling around and just not knowing at any second, one of these rods can go off and it's going to be a screamer and you don't know what it's going to be.
Wes, you're going to like it. You're the type of guy you're a doc talk kind of guy, and you're going to talk to people. You're going to make friends. Like you've already made a friend with Peter Malik, and there are going to be other guys like Peter. And, you guys are kind of going to have like a network, and you're going to kind of like you did in Chesapeake Bay with the stripers, how you always talk to those guys on the radio. You kind of had a little network of friends up there. Saltwater fishing, it's not going to be any different for you. I could see you totally meeting a couple of guys and doing the saltwater thing for a while. Now, whether or not, you're going to do it long term, I don't know, but I think you're at least going to do it for a minute, and I think you're going to enjoy it. You're going to catch some fish. You might, who knows, when West Rose, in 30 years, when he's sitting around in his recliner with his walker beside of him, on his oxygen tank, you might look around and see 30, 40 citation and framed citations on his wall.
Well, like I said, I just think it's going to be cool. It's something totally different, and I've fished offshore numerous times. I lived in West Palm Beach, Florida, fished saltwater every day on Lake Worth Pier. This is just like it's going to be a totally different, I'm going to be on my boat, learning how to rig this stuff up, learning how to troll, what colors to use, what time of year is a good time to use this color, and then like the dolphin rigs that I bought, those pre-rig things, like Mike said, he said, hell, you're subject, a marlin, a yellowfin's liable to hit them, a tuna's liable to hit them, a wahoo, a dolphin, kingfish.
Mm-hmm.
He said it just, there's just so many different things you can do out there.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's what I'm looking forward to. And I've never gaffed a fish before. I've never actually hit a fish with a gaff that I can remember.
Yeah.
I just want to hit one with a gaff and get it over in the boat and watch it do its thing, and then get my wash down. I got a wash down on the Grady. I ain't never had a boat with a wash down before. And then hose all the blood off and do it again. It's just everything about that atmosphere I've always liked. So I'm gonna get a chance to do it in my boat.
Do you like the heat? Do you like 90-degree baking in the sun?
Well, I've got a canopy.
That'll help.
Yeah, and I've got a big fan on there.
That's good. Yeah, you'll need that.
If I have to, I'll figure out a way to put a winging unit on that battery.
It's fun, man. It's so much fun, but it's danger. It can be dangerous. If you're gonna go out there, you got small windows. That's one thing that sucks about it is when you have a boat your size, your windows are very small. Sometimes, you may in a 14-day period, there may be 2 or 3 days spaced out that you can go, and you just kind of got to be, set on go and take off whenever you get that window.
Listen, I want to say something right quick. I don't know, for people that may know or not know, Todd Smith is on here. Todd is a very, very close friend of mine. I think the world of him. He is a great guy, super great guy. And Todd got out of fishing for years. He had some issues, medical issues, but Todd sent me a picture today of some pretty bait in a bait tank.
Yeah, he sent it to me too.
Oh, did you? You got it?
Yeah.
And he said that he was going to start back fishing. That was the plan. And buddy, I hope God's with you, and I wish you all the luck, brother.
That's good, Wes. We'll have to go up there and see if he wants to like to make a good video.
That would be awesome.
That would be a good video.
Because I'll start back fishing again.
If I got willing participants, I'll make a good video. It's getting those willing participants. That's like Scott said. Held to traveling to the lake and making a video editing. Screw that. I agree. Sometimes all the time I'm thinking to myself, I'm gonna make a video today. Then I get out there and all I have with me is my phone. I don't have the right kind of camera gear. And then I start thinking, well, what kind of video could I make? What can I talk about? And then after I like sit there and brainstorm for a few minutes, I'm like, you know what? Screw this. I'm just going to go fish.
Daniel Skipper's on here with us tonight. Todd Smith said, let's do it, JR. Daniel said, let's go.
Well, if we do that, I would kind of want it to be planned, and I would want everybody to be on the same page, because I'm the type that if I'm going to go to Tennessee and I'm going to bring my camera equipment and I'm going to like put forth the time and effort to fill up, several 60 gigabyte cards to make a 10-minute striper fishing video in Tennessee. I want to catch, we don't need but one fish. That's all we need. I mean, yeah, it would be nice if it was at least 20 pounds, but I only need one fish. I mean, look what I did with the Shad Shack video. That was one little 10-pound fish, and that's probably my best fishing video on my channel.
Yeah.
But anyways, what I'm getting at is I'm rambling here, but we got to be ready to go to work. If we're going to do that, Todd and me and you and whoever else, we got to be willing to do what it takes to give us the best chance, the highest percentage to put a fish on the boat, no matter how long it takes. Kind of like me and Drew and Alan did when we went. We didn't leave the water for 2 days. Yeah. We stayed out there. I got out there Thursday evening, and we fished that evening, slept on the boat, fished all day Friday, slept on the boat, and I caught that fish at 3:30 in the morning Saturday morning. And then we finally left and got off the water. But that's what it took to catch that one fish, and that's kind of the way I like to play it if I'm going to go through all that to make a video.
Well, Todd Smith said you'll get a high 40 at least. Todd knows. Todd has been fishing Middle Tennessee. Todd, you can tell him I'm not sure. I know it's been many, many years. I know he was fishing Middle Tennessee. Not saying Todd's old, but he was fishing Middle Tennessee back when our phones were still rotary. You didn't have pagers. You damn sure didn't have social media. And you didn't have bait shops. You caught your own bait. And he's just got a lot of knowledge up there. Old Hickory, Todd probably knows Old Hickory. I would say him and Ralph Dallas would be neck and neck. I mean, he fished with Ralph Dallas for years and years. Yep. He was fishing with Ralph Dallas way before Ralph ever caught that record fish. When you got that kind of knowledge in a fishery like that, that's a good friend to have.
Wes, I'm going to show you a video clip, and anybody in the comment section, y'all can guess too, but guess where this is. You ready? And we're going to start paying some line out.
That looked like a pontoon boat.
It was a pontoon boat.
See if anybody in the comment section will get. I don't know nobody. Todd said Watts Bar steam plant.
You know what? I really didn't think this through. I'm not going to tell nobody where that was at. DM me, Wes.
Huh?
DM me after the show. I'll tell you where it was at.
Why'd y'all catch a big fish there?
Actually, no, we didn't. That's that trip that's the trip that Chad high sticked it. The rod holder messed up. The rod holder,
Yeah.
He was trying to get the rod out, and I mean it was screaming. It was a trophy, and he let slack get in the line, and it got off.
Oh no, Todd said he's been fishing since Watts Bar Steam Plant, and that was many years ago.
Bar Steam Plant.
It went out. Hell, it was decommissioned. When was it decommissioned, Scott? I met Todd. I don't know. It's been a long time. That was back in the day when they were dumping all them chemicals in there, and damn, there's no telling what you're liable to catch. Like
probably coal ash.
Yeah, I know, right? No, stuff from the bombs. You know, they built, the bombs that they dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in Japan. The hydrogen bombs was built in Tennessee, right there on Melton Hill Lake.
Really?
Yes.
Huh.
That's why all that fallout. That's why there's so many fish advisories on there. Man, there's no telling what's on the bottom of that lake. That's why
there's fish advisories. Yeah, the PCBs are high.
You're liable to catch a striper that's got 4 fingers and 6 thumbs.
Hey, Wes, where's that at in Tennessee that all that bourbon spilled out in the river? Did you ever hear about that?
Yeah, Jim Beam, the Jim Beam distillery did that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Jim Beam. Yeah,
I don't know what river system it was on.
There was dead fish everywhere.
Shit, they wasn't dead. They just passed out.
Yeah, I know.
No, they woke up. They good after they had to get a little rest right there. Todd said he don't know. He don't have no idea where that video was. Todd Smith said they decommissioned it in 1975.
Paula's husband, Ken, was a game warden in Tennessee.
Really?
Yeah, Paula said that Ken knows the biologist that started the hybrid strip here in Tennessee. That's cool. I fished somewhere where there was a hatchery one time in Tennessee. I don't remember where it was at, though.
I do.
I know you do.
Well, there's not but one that I know of.
I'm sure you've been there with Drew.
Yeah, no. First time I ever seen it was with Todd Asher. Yeah, I've been there with Drew many a times too. But hey, when you're fishing right there where we're talking about, you're looking for one bite and one fish.
Yeah.
I fished it. We fished it for 2 days. Listen, and this is how ironic this is. I fished it for 2 days when Lori was trying to get her a big fish. I mean, fished the shit out of it. 16, 17 hours in 2 days and couldn't get a bite. Todd Asher and his wife gets on the boat with us. We go up the river and do the same thing that I was doing. And Lori catches a 32-pound striper 10 minutes after we were there. So go figure.
I think that you'll hear people say call it a time of day bite, but I think that sometimes people. I kind of straddle the fence on that. I think that fish are chewing somewhere at all times, but I also think that they will get lockjaw. Sometimes they just don't feed for whatever reason, and y'all must have hit them when they turned on.
What I've always thought was weird about fish is what triggers. Say you got a school of fish, especially like hybrid and crappie, and it's like when they're biting, they're in a feeding frenzy, and when it stops, it stops. And what can make anywhere from 60 to 50, 40 to 100 fish all want to feed at once and then just all stop at once? Nobody's ever been able to answer that for me.
I mean, I would think that you'd have to go toward the food. What's the food doing? What's the bait doing? What kind of bait is it? What are the bait feeding on? Go all the way down to the very base core of the food chain, and that'll probably point you in the right direction.
Well, I mean, you got fish rolling on top of the water. You pitching gizzards at them, a herring at them, whatever you're pitching at them, and you're just catching the shit out of them. And then all of a sudden,
it just turn off.
Yeah.
That's tough. There's a lot of theories out there.
It's kind of like, have you ever seen, a flock of birds, 400 or 500 birds in the air all flying at once? Have you ever tried to figure out who the leader is? Who are they following?
It's in geese, they're in the V. So it's
Yeah,
the one
yeah,
up
they
in the
fly in a
front.
V.
And they rotate like this. One of them will fly up front for a little while, and then he'll fall back, and another one will get up there and fly up front for a little while.
I guess Mother Nature just does stuff that we'll probably never know or understand why. It
Yeah.
is what it is. Scott says it's called a feeding frenzy. When one starts to feed, all the bait goes crazy and everything feeds. And then
Yep.
then who determines when it stops? If one fish is full, do they all get full at the same time?
Maybe the bait school outsmarted them temporarily. Maybe they got away from them. The bait balls up, right? In a
Yeah.
lot of situations, I guess it depends on the water you're fishing, the bait, what kind of bait, and the clarity. A lot of contingencies there. But let's say that it's the situation is that you have a ball of bait, and we've seen it in offshore under like National Geographic, how they film like the sardines in the blue water, how they school up, and the predatory fish are out swimming around the school, and like when one gets out of the school, one will grab him. And so maybe the bait are in the process of they're trying to get into a ball. One starts, like Scott said, one starts, boom, the feeding frenzy starts. The whole time they're trying to get into a ball, but all of them can't. Some of them are outside of the ball, the ball. And every time a fish comes in and eats, it disrupts them attempting to ball up. And eventually, whether it's because the fish have picked so many of them off that the ball is now smaller, so it's easier for them to form, and all of a sudden they actually do form a ball, and they're actually able to negate and get away from the stripers, or because they'll, even though they're in a ball, they'll still be swimming. So, or they've balled up so tight that the stripers they're all waiting on that one to come out of the tight ball, the school.
Talking about bait, I watched a video about 2 years ago, and it's probably one of the most amazing saltwater videos I've ever seen in my life. And I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but they say this is the true Super Bowl of saltwater fishing. It's the fall mullet run in Sebastian Inlet. Have you ever seen any of those videos?
No, I've never had any interest in catching. I was when it comes to saltwater offshore fishing and stuff like that. I'm a meat guy. I want to go
No,
after
no,
this.
no, no. Listen to me now. The fall mullet run, when all those mullet and they come in there by the trillions, not the billions, the trillions, and you got all these fish you got anywhere.
Oh, so you're not fishing for the mullet?
No, no, no.
Okay,
You
okay.
got now.
I was
Here's what you
confused.
got. You got permit. You got snook. You got tarpon. You got some yellow fins come in there. Swordfish. I mean, not swordfish. Kingfish, dolphin. There's like 7 or 8 different game species of fish, and they were showing a video and a big permit run through a ball of mullet, and when the mullet jumped, it looked like you could see mullet for a mile. Just one big one
Yeah,
fish hit that big pot of bait, and they just come out of the water.
Yeah, they're just like everywhere. Yeah,
And these guys are in this boat,
I've
and
seen that.
they're chasing these fish, and they're just like literally, they were nailing. I meant just killing the damn snook, And then they hooked up with a permit, and that permit smoked their ass. And they were just catching all these fish, and they call it that. They say that is the Super Bowl of saltwater fishing. It's the fall mullet run in Sebastian Inlet. So that would be a bucket list thing for me to do. But they say that's rough inlet.
Where's Sebastian Inlet at in Florida?
It's somewhere on the east coast of Florida. I think it's
Around Alamorado.
Is it Melbourne? Google that, JR.
Is it in the Gulf?
No, it's on the East Coast.
On the East Coast, okay.
Yeah, Google it right quick. Where's the Sebastian Inlet? If you say it, I'm trying to think. What part of Florida was it? I'm going to say it was somewhere around Melbourne or Fort Pierce. It's between Melbourne and Fort Pierce. Google it, see what it says.
Okay. Sebastian Inlet State Park.
Just Google where is Sebastian Inlet.
Yeah. Located in Sebastian Inlet State Park, Brevard County, Florida, and Indian River County, Florida. That's Sebastian.
Yeah, Sebastian Inlet.
Okay.
Hold on a minute. Let's see here. Where is Sebastian Inlet? Inlet Park is Brevard County, Florida. Indian River, Florida offers surfing, fishing opportunities. State, Vero Beach.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull it up on
12
a map.
miles north of Vero.
Let's see. Yep, East Coast.
I don't know if you can see that or not. Let's see.
Yeah, it's basically where Tampa is, but on the East Coast instead.
Oh, okay. Scott Perry said, salt water is all about trains, Wes. You better start. I mean, salt water is all about money. You better start installing trains.
Yeah, that's pretty close to the shelf there.
But they say all those pelagic fish chase those mullet in there, and it's hell. I might watch that video when we get done with the show tonight. I mean, dude, I can just watch them videos, and it just makes.
Yeah, you're only like 30 miles from the shelf right there.
Yeah. But I'm going to embark on a new adventure. I think I'm gonna like it. I just, going to Tennessee, chasing, looking, spending all that money, and it's cool. One fish, one bite. But hell, I'd rather spend some more money and take a chance on catching bigger fish and getting a lot of bites. So I'm gonna try it and see what happens.
Man, we're gonna have to go hit that Norfolk Canyon one day.
Where's that at?
It's about 80 miles, beeline out of Virginia, out of Rudy Inlet, out of Chesapeake Bay.
No, I'm not gonna take my boat out 80 miles.
You ain't gonna take your boat out 80 miles?
No. Hey, baby.
Yeah, I'm thinking that your boat might be smaller than what I'm envisioning. I haven't seen your boat in person yet.
It's just a 21-foot Grady White overnighter. Hey, if I decide that I really like saltwater fishing, can I buy a bigger boat?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, there you go. She said it. Tell them, baby, so they can see you. Say yes, you can buy a bigger boat. Tell them.
Yes, I'll never say no. I mean, he does what he wants. We keep our individuality in this relationship.
That's right.
I like that. Scott Perry, saltwater's all about money. Wes, you better start installing trains. I mean, it can be.
If I wanted to screw my customers, I would install train. Train makes good equipment. Just what people don't tell people when they install train is when your warranty runs out and you have to buy a part for that expensive son of a bitch, you're going to buy it from Train. And they're going to charge you out the ass for it because of that name.
Well, Scott's saying that because it's easier for someone that's not passionate about something to see the money trail. Like, I'm sure he's probably in a little bit of denial about how expensive his fishing is. And like from someone outside looking in, especially someone not in the fishing world, they can look at you, Scott, and they can be like, wow, man, that guy's like, he's spending a lot of money on fishing. He's buying bait, the fuel, the boat, the trailer maintenance, all that stuff. So it's relative, because if you're passionate about offshore fishing, then you're going to find like-minded individuals. You're going to have, like I was talking about earlier, you're going to have a little network of guys. You're going to have guys that are going to give you information. You're going to help each other out. You got guys that are going to split the bill with you. You got,
Well, here's
there'll
my
be people
thinking.
that'll go with you.
Here was some of my thinking. If I go to East Tennessee, where I stay at, and where mostly fish at in East Tennessee, and everybody knows where I fish in East Tennessee in the summer. That ain't no secret.
You've worn that couch out at Bose.
Oh, yeah. Hell, yeah, that's my favorite place to sleep. But, I'm 3 hours and 25 minutes from Bose Lodge, give or take traffic. That's why I like to travel. And that's if I leave here at 2 o'clock in the morning and I don't hit no traffic. I'm 3 hours and 10 minutes from Georgetown Harbor. Saltwater right there. So there's the driving difference is also I'm not going up mountains. I'm not going up a gorge. I'm going to go down 385 for 22 miles and get on 26 and roll all the way into Georgetown. No, not up no mountains, not up no cliffs, not up no gorges. I don't have to babysit trout, keep bait alive, do water changes. You know, so I have kind of thought this through a little bit. Now in the saltwater, it's going to be rougher on a trailer. It's going to be, you know, I'm going to have to clean a boat every time I take it out of the water. I'm going to have to take it somewhere and wash it down, you know, for what that's worth, what it'll help. It's going to be a little bit worse on a motor.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, there again, everything's got their advantages and disadvantages, just like a boat. If you want to do something in a boat to gain something, you're going to have to give something. I've learned that with a boat. But, you know, it's just, I just want to do something different, you know, and if it costs me a little bit more money, most of the time, anything you do in life, if you're having a good time or a better time, you're going to spend more money to do it. And it's just one of them things. So,
right. Yeah.
Scott said he's ready. He's going to buy the Ballyhoo. Oh, I've watched videos on how to rig a Ballyhoo.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that seems like an awful lot of work to me to put a dead fish on a hook.
Yeah, that's what I was telling you. Don't just rig the damn thing. Just, you know, if you want to put a weight under his chin, you know, just wrap it and don't worry about. Those guys are full of shit. Those guys,
You know, pushing the shit out of their belly and breaking.
Yeah, I mean, I do all that.
away.
Yeah, I do all that. I mean, I just,
And then slide. Then they put this thing, looks like a spring. They push it down over his nose.
Right. Yeah, you don't have to have that, but you can just wrap it. But I mean, as far as like breaking his back and you know, pushing the dookie out of it and all that, I mean, it's going to make it a little more malleable as it's being trolled.
Yeah.
But I just do it because it makes me look like I know what I'm doing, and it's just fun. It's fun, you know. You're sliding the dookie out of it. I mean, it's kind of what's the
you
word?
reckon Peter Melhorn would stick his finger up his ass to check it and make sure?
It's too small.
Oh okay.
Yeah, but
it's, you know, people talk about, like, you know, I said something about catching spinner
comforting.
shark. I wish I could send you that video and you could show this video for people that have never seen it. That spinner, I like a hit. I like a fast hit. It's just something that just smokes a reel. It's just exciting to me.
Yeah.
When that spinner shark, when I hooked into that spinner shark down in Florida, that was amazing. That thing smoked that shit. That fish was twice as fast as that tarpon was. You know, I mean, it, like I said, it smoked an 8-aught Shimano bait run. You know that Shimano bait runner like you were using up there in Chesapeake Bay?
Mm-hmm.
That spinner shark smoked it. Less than 30 seconds, 250, 260 yards of line was gone.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
It's kind of like a Mako. It sounds like it's kind of like a Mako.
And when they come out of the water, that's why they call them spinner sharks. They don't only give you a lot of head shake stuff, they actually spin. I mean, you know, people say, oh, they tear your gear up and they tear. What the hell are they going to tear up? A piece of wire leader and a fucking 8-aught circle hook? You know, that's cheap.
Well, you know, when you're fishing for fish like that, you can't be using like a Shimano TLD or a pin squall or any kind of graphite reel or like a Senator, like a spot welded frame reel. Like you got to have like a CNC machine reel for it to hold up. You know, you can get by with squalls and TLDs and stuff
but not for long.
For a little bit, yeah. But you're just wasting your money.
Well, that's why I spent $400 this time on reels, and I've seen some of those reels easily. But they some of them saltwater reels, 12 and 10-aught series reels, fucking $1,000. You know, I was looking at Accurate, but from a lot of the stuff that I read about Accurate, they've really fell off. They're not what they used to be. So,
I don't know about that, Wes.
Well, I read one guy, you know, he was a charter captain. He bought 6 of the Boss Furies.
Sorry, I'm trying to delete some photos here.
And
Go ahead.
you know, and the clickers, 2 of the clickers fell off of me. Turned the clicker on. The clickers popped off the side of the reel. It took Accurate forever to fix them.
And what were they?
Accurate Boss Furies. And then he had 2 Valiants. He had 2 Valiants, the gear stripped out.
Okay, I thought you were talking about Avid. I thought you said Avid.
No,
okay.
Accurate.
Yeah. Okay.
And then now listen to this. This is weird. You're not going to believe this. The first Accurate reel I bought it at Big Fish Outfitters. One of the the castable ones, what do they call it? The MC cast.
Yeah, the MC is magnetic cast.
Yeah. I get up to I'm not gonna say that word, another part of Tennessee I fish I don't say nothing about. Well, anyway, I go to cast it.
Mhm.
First time I cast it and went to turn the clicker on it, and the son of a bitch fell apart.
The clicker
Then
did?
I had to, and I yes,
on
first
an
time
on an Avid MC.
on an Avid, yes. So I had to pay $68 to ship the damn reel there and get it fixed and shipped back to me. So I got that reel fixed and sold it, and I'll never buy nothing else from Avid.
Really?
Yes, that's a true
crazy.
story. I was on the Cumberland River when it happened.
Was that a new reel, or was that a reel that you had?
I stopped and bought it at Big Fish Outfitters and put line on it. When we got up to the Cumberland River where I was going to fish, rigged it up, cast it out one time. We put it down the rod holder, took it out of gear, went to turn the clicker on it, and it popped off. Fell in the bottom of the boat. That's
you should have you should have taken it back to Big Fish.
I did. Once I leave the store with it, it's got to go through Accurate. So I
really?
called.
They don't even have like a 30-day warranty.
No,
That's crappy.
Yeah. So I spoke with some lady in California. I think that's where they're located. I told her what happened, and she said, "You'll have to ship it back to us." And I said, "Well, y'all send me a shipping label." She said, "No." She said, "We stand good behind the warranty, but we don't cover nothing on shipping." So shipping that reel to California back cost me, it was like 58 or 68 bucks.
Did you try reaching out? Did you try
To
emailing?
David? Yes, I did. Talked to David personally. He said, "Wes, once they're sold," he said, "we don't stand behind the warranties. That's between you and Accurate." So I meant
Avid. No,
Avid.
I'm talking about Avid. Did you reach out?
Avid, the Avid MC cast.
Yeah, I'm saying, did you email Avid? Is what I'm saying.
Yes.
You did?
I talked to him. I called him.
He's the one that said that he wasn't going to
David
stand by it.
Yeah. He said I'd have to go through Avid.
Who's David?
David Powell that owns Big Fish Outfitters.
Yeah, I'm talking about Avid. Did you reach out to the company?
Yes, I called them, JR. So I said I called them. They're located in California.
Right. And what'd they say?
I spoke with the lady. She said, "Yes, we'll be glad to stand behind the warranty, but you have to pay the shipping here and back." I said,
That's
"Okay."
not right. That's not right.
That's what. Well, if you look at their website,
Bad job. Poor job, Avid.
Yeah, $58. So I got it fixed. I sold it to Joseph Harris, and I told him what happened. He said, "I don't care. I want to buy it." So I got my money back out of it.
I don't blame him.
I just lost the money on the shipping. So
I don't blame him. I mean, that's rare. That's rare for an Avid to mess up like that. I think this is an image of a spinner shark. Does it look right, Wes?
Looks like that was kind of fatter. Spinner sharks seem like they're a little bit longer than that, but that may be one.
I thought so too. I just Googled spinner shark jumping.
Yeah. Yeah, those fish are like they're super.
Yeah,
super
no,
fat.
that's a spinner shark. That is in Apollo Beach, Florida. That picture is from uploaded 2016.
Yep, they'll come out of the water just like a tarpon will, but just a little bit higher and a little bit faster. You got some people that just target spinner sharks. They like that, the fight, the agility of them, how fast they are, and they're really hard. They are actually hard to land.
You're talking about these sharks are what, at least 100 pounds, right?
The one I caught, I hooked one at Myrtle Beach, and the captain, he said he's probably 80, 85 pounds.
Yeah, but you can, you can catch them, upwards, over that. But to have a fish that an 80-pound fish come skyrocketing 10 feet out of the water. I mean, that is insane.
Yeah, that's why I want to target them.
It's much like a target.
Rusty Griffin, my buddy Rusty, that's fishing out of Charleston. He said, "Wes," he said, "we caught one other day. We got one to the boat. There's a little over 7 foot. Took us about 25 minutes." And he said about 10 minutes later, we cooked another one that was probably 50, 60 pounds bigger. We got it close to the boat, and it decided to just take off and take another run and broke a hook. All octopus circle hook.
Here is an image of a spinner shark jumping. This was also taken in Florida. This is 7 images compiled together. Let's see if I can find it. Well, I lost it. Hang on, I'll find it though.
All right.
This is pretty awesome. Ah, there it is. Check that out. That's 7 photos put together showing the spinner shark jumping.
Yeah. They really are. They're an amazing, people. I know they're a shark. A lot of people call them trash fish. They've got a bad name, but they'll bend the shit out of a rod, and that's Todd Smith. Can you hear that? Todd said he can hear my washing machine and dryer in the background.
Yeah, I can hear it.
That's probably one of my sheet metal screws I left in there. I'm bad about leaving stuff in my pockets. So JR, that's the same fish. It's just like the way they photoed it.
Yeah, that's 7. That's a composite of 7 different photos of the
7
fish
frames.
jumping. Yeah. Isn't that cool?
Look how far he jumped.
I know. Check this one out.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Dude, listen, they are so strong. Did you see the video I put on Facebook?
Of the
Did you watch
tarpon?
that?
Oh, the spinner shark. Yeah. I watched
No,
it.
the one where I got smoked.
Mm-hmm. That was awesome.
Even that captain, he said, dude, these fish, he said, those fish are, he said, a lot of people don't like them because they can't get them in. They tear their shit up. He said, those fish are, he said, they're probably close to twice as fast as a tarpon. And he said, they're just stronger. He said, they're more agile. So that's probably going to be my main target right now, maybe until I catch a wahoo or something.
Well, all those images I was pulling up were all from Florida.
Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them in South Carolina. Winyah Bay right now is loaded with them.
Mm. What kind of rods you gonna get, Wes, or what are you gonna use?
You don't remember the ones I showed you last night?
Those
The
ugly sticks. Yeah.
I
Those
don't
are
know.
the tiger rods. Are those
Yeah.
the tigers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And most of the videos, what's crazy too, most of the videos that I've been watching, people are using those tiger rods.
You sure they're not the ugly stick tiger lights that they're using?
Well, that's what mine are, tiger lights.
They're the jigging rods?
Yeah.
They're probably using the jigging rods. I don't think yours are the jigging rods.
Yeah, they are. Well, mine's got tiger light on it. Hold on a minute.
Tiger light jigging rods, yeah. They're much more broomsticky than yours. Well, Wes, you're gonna have your hands full catching them on noodle rods.
This rod right here is stiff as shit.
Is that the rods that you bought that you replaced all your big? Oh, okay.
No. This ain't those that we had in Chesapeake Bay, bro.
Oh, okay.
It's a totally different rod.
What's the weight on them? 30 to 50?
Hold on a minute, I'll tell you. Hold on, let me get my glasses. I can't see
Okay.
this.
Yeah, so you're gonna be fighting them on, if they're 30 to 50, you'll be fighting them on 50-pound stand-up gear. So that'll be fun.
No, actually, it's 30 to 60.
There you go. Yeah, that'll handle it.
7 foot heavy, 30 to 60, 1/8 ounce lure. Whatever, I don't know what that is. But
Be careful when you're getting those big fish up to close to the boat with those long rods.
This is only a 7 foot rod.
Those longer rods make the fish harder to handle. That's why a lot of your offshore guys will use the shorter rods. You'll see them using 5'8" rods, 6'2".
Well, this is a 7 foot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So be careful when you get those big thrashing fish up close to the boat, especially when you're using long leaders and shock leaders. You're going to have to
look at that pretty son of a bitch right there. Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, that thing's going to be, you're going to think pretty when that thing's getting smoked.
Let it smoke it, baby. That's what I want. Tear it up and I'll buy nothing as soon as I get back. Yeah, like I said, I don't want nothing bigger. I don't care about if that rod and reel right there won't catch it. I don't really care if it bites or not.
I'll be right back, Wes.
Buddy.
Grab something to drink right quick. It's not the way I always want.
Damn, Scott, I can't tie a polymer knot with 80 pound. Why not? Scott, that was a Shimano 2-speed 12 Speedmasters. Hold on a minute. Scott, it is a Speedmaster 12.2. Speedmaster 12.2 something. I'm not sure, but there's a picture of it again.
Can you hear me now?
I got you.
Yeah, you can tie a Palomar with 80 pound mono. You can actually tie Palomar with 100 pound if you really wanted to. You might have to grab a pair of pliers and pull on that tag in, but you can get it.
Yes, yeah, that's a Shimano, Scott.
I usually go up to about 80 pound with the Palomar, then I go to the crimps. You got to get some crimps, Wes. You got some?
No, listen, I was watching some of those videos. Like I bought a lure called a Yozuri Blue. Hell, what was it?
Well, listen, don't buy a crimp tool and let me give you. I got a bunch of that stuff, buddy.
Well, I was gonna say I was noticing, some of these guys are like on this particular bait, they were running wire, so much wire leader and crimping it, and I don't know.
Yeah, they don't really crimp wire. They'll haywire twist it. You can crimp cable.
Cable. I'm sorry. Yeah, they
wire.
were putting cable on it and crimping it. Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna want to use a chafe guard. Make sure you got plenty of chafes. Double crimp. I like double crimping.
They're using that cable. What would be the difference in say using a piece of 150 pound or 200 pound wire, straight wire, and just like hay twisted, hay bale in it?
Yeah, single strand wire is very, 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 very stiff, especially when you start getting up over 90 pounds single strand. The cable is soft. It's limp.
And it don't kink.
It doesn't kink. No. Yeah, it's and plus it's just I don't know. It's better. You're not going to get. But you're not going to get bite offs with wire either. But you can. Now, a lot of guys, when the bite's tough, they'll actually go to mono. They'll take the chance. Even when they're fishing for toothy fish. I've fished for kings with 100-pound mono before, or 100-pound fluoro, just because the bite seemed tough. I wouldn't do it now, but I have tried it. It works. A lot of guys in the king tournaments and stuff, when the bite's tough, they'll switch to mono sometimes. It'll sometimes that makes a difference. They'll hit the mono over the
now in salt water is fluorocarbon not as much for sight, but it's fluorocarbon. It's a lot more resistant, brave resistant than mono, correct?
I mean, they say it's more abrasion resistant, but I mean, the only time I'm going to use it is for line sensitive fish. I'm not using it for its abrasion resistance.
What do you mean live sensitive?
Line sensitive fish that are really, really line sensitive, like striper, are supposedly.
Well, I thought you just said all fish were dumb.
Well, they are, but some fish have bigger eyes than others. So,
if they're dumb, then
they could be of the same intelligence. One could just see better than the other.
And you think they've got enough smarts to where if they can see better, they know the difference between mono and fluorocarbon?
Well, I mean, they're smart enough. You're taking a piece of plastic with hooks on it, and you're making it imitate a fish. You're tricking them into thinking a piece of plastic is a real bait fish. I think that you have to eventually draw the line somewhere. And
Well, when you're pulling those chugger baits or plugger baits, whatever they call them, like I bought, there's nothing about that resembles any kind of fish I've ever seen.
right. Yeah.
So what makes them want to hit that?
I think sometimes it's got a lot to do with the action that you're putting on it, like walking the dog. And
No, I'm talking about those baits that you troll, like for mahi and wahoo. There's nothing about
even when you're trolling, it's got a lot to do with. That's why you have so many different shapes and sizes when it comes to lures. You got the islanders with the pointy heads, and you got your pre-rigged Ballyhoo. You got all different shapes and subsurface lures. I think it's got a lot to do with the splash that it's creating while you're trolling it. Like, you'll notice when you're trolling Ballyhoo, that's why you're squeezing the poop out and breaking the backbone. So, because it's going to make a different kind of splash. I think a lot of times they think it's flying fish. I mean, you see a lot of flying fish kind of skimming the water, skipping along.
Well, I'm gonna try this adventure this summer. I'm gonna do it hard this summer and see what happens.
Yeah, I need to come see you. I need to come see you and I got a bunch of stuff that I'm not going to use, and if I ever decide to do that again, then I can just get some more stuff. So it's just taking up room.
Well, like I said, you're welcome next week. Hoover said we could, I could bring 2 people with me. He said 4 would be great. He's got plenty of room. Richie Scruggs is going to go with me, and you're still welcome to go with us out there if you can swing it.
If I can get off work.
How far are you from there, JR? I know you're a lot closer than I am, aren't you?
From where?
His boat's somewhere in Hatteras.
Oh, Hatteras. I'm 6 or 8 hours from Hatteras.
Oh, really? Hell, I'm not that far from it.
Let's see where.
Oh, you further from it than I am.
Hang on. Well, I mean, Hatteras. I mean it. Hang on. Directions. Well, I know that's not right. That's not right.
No, hell no.
That's not right.
How far is Hatteras, North Carolina?
I'm thinking like 7 hours.
Oh, hell, I'm not as close as I thought I was. Mine says I'm 8 hours.
Yeah, that's about right.
So, wait a minute. Oh, okay. No, that's wrong too. Avon, let's see. I forgot the name of that. There's Emerald Island. I forgot the name of the marina he said he was at. He kept his boat.
And Google Maps is saying 10 hours and 21 minutes for me. I don't remember it ever being out that far. I want to say it was like 7. I think it's like 7 hours.
Oh, okay. But and there again, like Peter said, he's just going to show me some different ways to rig up stuff, for what I'm targeting, and and I think I put 300, almost 300 yards of braid on there, and then I topped it off with 40-pound mono. Use that for my leader, and then I'm gonna have a shock leader too. And then like the guy said, he said, there again, that yellow line is real bright in the water. So you'll have most of your mono, they'll be looking at that bait. They won't never see that braid. So I topped that off. And I tied, listen, it took me, I ain't gonna lie, it took me 30 minutes before I learned how to tie a uni knot, because I was watching the video and then I'd do it so far. Then when I'd stop trying to tie the knot and I reach up there to hit play, then I'd lose my place in the damn knot. and have to start. And it took me 30 minutes to tie that uni knot. So is that the easiest knot to tie when you're wanting to splice line or going from like braid to mono or braid to braid or mono to mono?
Well, I use wind-ons, man.
What?
I mean, I use wind-ons. If I'm going to go to,
I'll top my line off, JR. I'll put about 200 yards of
if you're
mono.
putting a top shot on it, you need to go Bimini. That's what I do. I go cat paw to loop to loop. So you do it.
A uni knot, you looping it too, ain't you? Well, I was making loops.
I think a uni knot's kind of like an Albright. You can connect them that way. I just don't like the knot strength. I don't think the uni knot has it don't have the knot strength that a Bimini has.
Well, everybody else said the uni knot was the best knot to attach braid to mono.
It might be. I always used Bimini twist. I mean. I got good at doing it. It looks really, really complicated, but it's just memorization, and I can do it real fast now. That's my favorite.
Somebody said something about an Alberto knot, so I Googled that. I wouldn't even attempt to try to tie one of them son of a bitches.
I don't even. I mean, I'm sure I've looked at it before, but I use haywire twist for wire. I use crimps for cable, and I'll use Palomar on anything up to 80 pound, and I use Bimini twist for connecting my top shots, and I use wind-on leaders. I mean, I can't really think of any other kind of knot that you would need to tie. I mean, there's a bunch of different knots you can splice mono to.
Well, I thought union meant to come together.
You know what? Bimini twist maybe that is a type of uni knot. I don't know. I'm not even sure I know what a uni knot is.
Well, you put your lines. Of course, you put your lines together, and then when you put them together, you make a loop. So you're gonna go you start with your braid. You make a loop around both. Then you go through that loop, depending on the turns. I think I went through it like 8 times, and then you kind of cinch that up. Then you go over here and do the same thing. Then you wrap your mono around your braid 8 times. Then you kind of cinch that up.
Right. Yeah. That's like a Bimini.
Yeah, and then you wet it all good, and then you pull them both together until they. And I pulled on it. I wrapped a towel around my hand and tried to pull them apart, but I hope I've got it. So it took me 30 minutes to tie the first one. Then when I thought I had it, I did it without watching the video, and I did the second one in about 2 minutes. So
yeah,
that's
very similar to an Albright. I think that is an Albright knot.
Well, when I Googled it, said uni knot on YouTube.
Yeah, I've tied that knot, but if you ever tie a Bimini twist, that'll be all you want to tie. Because I mean, it's a uni is probably going to be better to cast, like it'll go through the eyes better, the guides better. But I don't think there's going to be a stronger knot than because a Bimini twist to connect isn't really a knot. I mean, you're actually like you're splicing the line together. I mean, it's almost like you're turning your line into a bungee cord because there's so much wrappings there. It's just like a bungee, like it's just you can't break it. It's going to break somewhere along the main line before it'll break anywhere on the knot.
Kind of like when you weld something, the weld's actually stronger.
Right. Kind of like they say the knot with the highest knot strength is the Palomar. They say it has 100% knot strength, like the improved clinch, like a lot of guys, the fisherman's knot that your dad taught you how to, you wrap it around, go through the hole, and then,
or double clinch. I do a double cinch.
Yeah,
go through the eye twice.
That's called the improved clinch, but it's on it. Even the improved clinch knot is only 97% knot strength, and the Palomar's like supposedly 3% stronger than it.
Yeah.
But a Bimini twist, I don't even think they classify that as a knot because it's actually making your line stronger in that connection.
Kind of like Chinese handcuffs.
Yeah.
The harder you pull,
but you got to be careful doing it on braid. That's why it's kind of good to definitely don't go any smaller than 50-pound braid because you don't want any because the 50-pound braid's got a pretty small diameter, and if you're connecting it to say 50-pound mono, then that braid having such a a much smaller diameter than the mono, it's going to cause it. It'll actually cut into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think I did 80-pound braid, 40-pound mono.
Well, yeah, you're good then.
But then you got, what is it? Shit. Damn, my mind just went blank. And that's the only knot I tie on the octopus hook. We call it when you run your line through your hook.
Snail.
Snail knot. Well, there was a contest. I watched a video on this. This guy, they were having a knot tying contest, testing them for strength. And, they disqualified the guy because they looked something up and they said a snail is not considered a knot. A snail to me would be stronger than a polymer knot.
Yeah, it's a knotless knot. That's what I've heard people call it.
Yeah, because it's almost like the harder you pull it, the tighter it's going to cinch up. I would say, wouldn't you say a polymer knot's probably strong? I mean, a snail's probably stronger than a polymer knot.
Yes, I would totally agree with that. Yeah, there's absolutely no because any knot that you make, whether you lick it or not,
it's going to be weak.
There's going to be a tiny bit of friction there, and any friction at all, then that's nothing but a single fit. Like mono is the Greek word for one, so it's one filament of nylon, and it's extremely heat sensitive. Like any heat at all, when you're cinching that knot, is going to weaken it.
Yeah. I've actually seen some people when they cinching a knot up, especially striper guys. I've seen a guy do this when I first started striper fishing. When he cinches his knots up, he would put it down in his bait tank and cinch it up.
Yeah.
He said spit only goes so far. He said you put it in the water before you start to cinch it up underwater. I don't know how much of a difference that makes because I just always spit on them.
Yeah, me too.
My
dad always said if you could mass produce saliva, he said you'd be rich.
It's the best lubricant in the world.
It works for everything.
But
can you imagine when you go out there throwing on what they call a cigar weight? It's basically cable with a big, there's different sizes. I think I got like a 42 ounce and like a 30 something ounce, but it's like a length of cable that's, I don't know, 10 inches or so. And then you got this big trolling sinker in the center of it. It's like 40 ounces. And each side of the cable is a crimped loop on the cable. And you hook a coastal, a snap swivel to the one end and a snap swivel to the other end. And you can put the shrink tube on the snap swivels to make it flush. So it's not causing any disturbance while you're trolling it. And you could throw a marauder after the sinker, the cigar weight, then you're going to want to put a good length of some heavy mono, at least 150 pound up to 400 pound. And then you connect it to a marauder. And my favorite color marauder was this like a dark purple. And I always change the hooks out to the single hooks. And you troll that bad boy about 14 miles an hour. And you're going to get hits where you're not going to hook up. But when you do hook up with a wahoo, it's going to blow your mind. And it's cool because when you get the fish in, you throw them in the box, you look at your marauder, and this freaking it is teeth marks all over it. And you can, even when you miss them, when you reel it in, you'll be like, wow, look at those teeth marks. I mean, it's evidence, that it was actually, yeah.
Well, they say wahoo. I think sailfish is the fastest fish in the ocean, and wahoo is second. I always thought wahoo was first, but I Googled it one night, and it said wahoo's the second fastest fish in the ocean. So it's just crazy to imagine them. You're pulling a bait anywhere from 6, 8, 10 knots, and or like you
or
say,
faster,
15 or 15.
Actually, you can go up to 20, 25.
and a 40-pound fish, hits it going 50 miles an hour the opposite way.
Maybe a 70-pound fish.
You know, and then this guy, he said, listen, he said, here's my thing about trolling for wahoo. He said, I've been doing it for years. He said, I don't think there's really no speed fast enough you can troll for them. He said, pull it. He said, if they want it, they're going to catch it. He said, unless you're running 80 miles an hour, when you're trolling for wahoo, if they want it, they're going to catch it.
I'll tell you what I used to do when I would go out to fish the tent breaks. Let's say I was going 50 plus miles out of Pensacola. On my way out, when I got about, I don't know, 8 or 10 miles from my destination, you know, the tent break I was wanting to fish, I would go ahead and throw out a mirage. I would go ahead and throw out at least one, and I would go about 25 miles an hour. And sometimes I would catch fish. I never caught a wahoo doing that on my way out to where I was fishing, but I caught plenty of little tunny. This little tunny will, if a little tunny can hit it at 20 miles an hour, then a wahoo definitely can.
You know, the first saltwater fish I ever caught any size, I caught it was a 20-pound. It was a little over 20 pounds, bonita. And I thought I had something, boy.
That was probably, you sure it wasn't a little tunny? Because a lot of people mistake they call them bonitas because they look just alike.
This was a bonita. Because when I got him on the boat, the captain said, of course you don't want this fish, do you? And I said, nah, I don't guess. And he said, we want to use him for bait. And they cut him up, and it was pure blood.
That's what, that was a little tiny.
That
was a little tiny. They call them bonitas. If he said, you don't want this fish, do you? And they cut it up and they used it for bait and it was extremely bloody, that is a little tiny.
Why do they call them bonitas down there?
Because they look identical to a bonita. Identical. It's like almost like an alewife and a blueback herring. Like they look.
Well, then what is a real bonita then? I thought bonita were bloody.
Bonitas are, but not as bloody, and they're actually edible. They're actually, I'm pretty sure a bonita is actually in the tuna family, whereas a little tunny is actually in the mackerel family.
Well, I remember this fish was real bloody, and they wanted to use it. Said they was going to use him for bait.
I could be wrong on that.
Okay, and like I said, they just called it a bonita. That's the first time I was on a head boat, and we were fishing out of Lantana, Florida, on a boat called the Bee Love. I'll never forget that. That was the first time I'd ever fished in saltwater. But God, that fish was strong, you know. And we were just, you know, we were dropping. Seemed like we were using mullet and just dropping. You know, you just drop the line straight down till they tell you to stop, and then you're just sitting there waiting for your rod to bend over. Which, you know, I was a freshman in high school my first year I went to Florida, so I thought that was just the most amazing thing in the world. Scott said a 20-pound bonita would have been a damn record. Really?
They are. I've never seen a big one. They are small.
Well, they called it a bonita.
I tell you what, they'll fight like a 50-pound fish. Biggest bonita I don't know. I've never weighed any bonita, but I mean, well, little Chinese. But I would guess the biggest one I've ever caught was probably 10 pounds. I've caught a million of them though.
Well, and they're again talking about fishing. Half of that shit out there, hell, I probably ain't gonna know what it is unless it's a dolphin or something that I've used to seeing a lot of. It called Lori, she said, what are you gonna do if you catch something you don't know what it is, baby? I said, I'm gonna cut you down later. Let it go. Because some of that shit you touch out there is liable to kill you. I mean, but yeah, and talking about the gaffing, I've never gaffed a fish before. That's why I put on that post. I think it had like 60 comments. Michael Walker, could you recommend a good gaff? Because I'm fixing to have to start learning how to use one. So
I got a video on Facebook of me gaffing a bull dolphin. True bonita have diagonal stripes from their back to belly and small teeth. They are edible. Our bonita or false abercore or little tunny has the lines only on its back with a silvery belly. The dolphin has black spots. No real teeth to speak of. I've seen true bonita caught on deep wrecks in the wintertime. They are not very common down here. I'm on the whole truth. I'm trying to find the difference between them.
Well, actually, they said it was a bonita, but they called them bonies down there. We were in West Palm Beach. We went out of Palm Beach Inlet.
Mhm.
They called it a bony.
I'll put it to you this way: I've never met anyone that called them little tiny. Like everybody calls them bonitas. Like I had this guy at work. He went on an offshore trip. They paid big money, and he came back and he was bragging about how awesome it was and how they caught all these tuna. And he showed me the picture, and they're all holding up little tinies. And I'm like, dude, those are little tinies, man. Like that guy took them out there, and he made them think that they were catching like awesome like blackfin tuna, but this was just a bonita. You know, it was in the tuna family. It's like blackfin, but no, it's a little tiny and it's trash.
Well, blackfin tuna's neighbor tuna. You know why they call them neighbor tuna?
No.
Because that's the tuna that you'll give your neighbor happily.
Yeah. I don't know. I like blackfin. I think
you don't give your neighbor yellowfin or bluefin, but you can give them all the blackfin they want.
I don't know, man. I think blackfin is it's up there with yellowfin.
Now, the blackfin, do they fight? What's the better fighting tuna? I know the bluefins are bigger.
I think you're talking about skipjack tuna.
What's the skipjack tuna?
That's what the tuna the tuna that you're eating in the can.
Oh no! I'm talking about like tuna we were catching out on when I went out with Drew. Those were yellow. I caught 116-pound yellowfin.
Yeah, those were yellowfin. But what I'm saying is blackfin.
That's what fights better: blackfin, yellowfin, or the blues for their size.
Well, blackfin are, in my opinion, just as good taste worthy as yellowfin. But as far as fighting, pound for pound, I don't know. It's hard to say because I've never caught any like real small yellowfin. I'm gonna have to give it to blackfin though. Blackfin are fight like they're for their size because they're little footballs, but they fight like crazy.
I'll be right back, Gerald.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, I could be wrong on the whole bonita little tiny thing. That's what I've always thought. Maybe I don't know if I read that somewhere. I'm looking at a chart here, and there is an Atlantic bonito, and there is a little tiny, and they do look very similar. Let's see. I uploaded a picture of a bonita and a little tiny to show you the difference, but I don't know where it sent the darn picture. I caught a little tiny one time and made tuna dip out of it. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna actually, instead of using this for bait, I'm gonna actually keep it and try to eat it. And I started looking up recipes, and so I got on like forums like The Whole Truth and stuff. And some of those guys said that you can add mayonnaise and you can add liquid smoke and you can actually make it taste pretty good, you know, as a dip. So I took a little tiny and I made this giant bowl. I mean, it was probably I don't know, 7 pound. It was a good sized little tiny. And
what's up, Jonathan Smith?
I made this big bowl of dip, and I threw the mayonnaise to it. I threw the liquid smoke to it. I had some Triscuits, and I tried to eat it. It was still, even after all that, it was too fishy. So I took it to work. And these dudes at work, well, they killed it. They're like, man, that's the best tuna I ever. You need to catch some more of them. I'm like, man.
What was it, JR?
It was a little tiny, a bloody, nasty, fishy. I mean, it's inedible, but I kept one time and tried to make some dip out. I was like, well, you know, maybe I can make some dip out of it. Maybe some dip will be good.
Hey, JR, now amberjack.
Yes,
Can
I
you
love
catch
them.
them trolling? Now I've caught one before, but
Yeah.
we caught it. We were downlining on a wreck.
Yeah, we doubled up on them one time. When you double up on an amberjack, see, most people, they don't really give amberjack the credit they deserve because they, they are reef. That people do call them reef donkeys. They are credited with fighting extremely hard, but you don't really look at at an amberjack as a fish that you catch when you're high speed trolling. We've caught them high speed trolling. We doubled up on that, like 40-pound amberjacks one day, and I have never had. It was smoking a real, like, worse than a wahoo. Like, it was. I was like, oh my god, what is? I mean, I'm telling you right now, if you hook onto a 40-pound amberjack high speed trolling, um, don't even think about touching the drag. You might just let him spool you. Just let him spool you because
Really?
he's pulling the drag off at such a high rate that, see, we're not used to that. We're used to adjusting the drag. Even when a fish is pulling drag like a striper or a catfish, we're used to adjusting the drag and everything's okay. When something is pulling drag that fast, the drag starts to heat up and everything becomes much more sensitive. Like, you have to be very, very careful adjusting your increments on your drag when something's pulling drag that fast. But the thing is, though, is he doesn't stop. You think, like, when you go striper fishing in Tennessee, you get that initial kind of scares you, spooks you because it's so aggressive of a run. Well, in saltwater, you get that, but it doesn't stop. Like, a striper will stop eventually. You can stop him. Saltwater, you can't stop him, and so you have to make a decision. Do you tighten the drag down or do you let him spool you? You'll have that situation. And if you tighten it down and you break off, then you'll spend your whole life regretting tightening it down. But if you let it spool you and you don't tighten it down, then you're going to spend your whole life regretting not tightening it down. So,
Well, hey Jonathan, I am. We're gonna try. I'm gonna try to go either next Wednesday or Thursday out of North Carolina, and then my next trip's gonna be with Rusty Griffin down in Charleston, and then my next few trips after that is probably gonna be with Mister Perry, maybe Jr. I'm sure if I can get if I go with Perry, Jr. will go for sure. He'll follow Perry anywhere.
oh god,
Uh,
I'll go if I can go. I'll go. Yeah, I don't. I'm believe me. I'm not. I wouldn't back out if I could go.
but yeah, just like you're talking about, it just excites me. I like to see a reel get smoked. Or like I was looking at some videos the other night, high speed trolling for Wahoo. Dude, when
Mm-hmm.
them fish hit, it's just unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, just some of these, and then they get these fish in. I look at their size. I'm like, WTF?
Yep.
This
Yep.
fish this size just did that to that reel.
Yeah, the first wahoo I caught was probably, I don't know how much it weighed. It was skinny and it was probably 4 foot long. Like, I'd say it was over 40 inches and but it was skinny. I mean, it was a good sized fish. I mean, it might have been 20 pounds, legit 20, but it could have been more. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, the way the thing fought, we had to chase it. Like, we had to, like, chase it. It was either chase it or get spooled.
Really,
Yeah. Oh, yes. 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 Yes.
it's just amazing how strong those saltwater fish are. They'll pull any 10-pound fish in saltwater will pull any 20-pound fish backwards in freshwater.
Well,
Any
yeah,
of them.
it's like they got the horsepower.
Yeah.
Just, when you throw them on the deck, even when you put them in the ice box, if you don't kill them, they're in the ice box going. I mean, they're just
Yeah.
their hearts are just beating 1,000 times a minute. It's
A lot when
crazy.
they're flopping on the deck, they're flopping so fast it sounds like a helicopter.
They will tear your stuff up. I mean, like, and it's dangerous, Wes. You got to be really careful using that gaff. Once you gaff a mahi, even if the mahi is only 15, 20 pounds, this fish, as soon as he hits the deck, man, it's like a wrecking ball, man. He's kicking and bucking and he's breaking stuff, he's slinging stuff, and that gaff will stick in your butt real, real easy. easy. It'll go in you like butter, and it'll be in you before you know it. So,
Well,
gotta,
when you gaff them, can you leave them in the water for a second
no,
to keep that out of them?
nope. You got to get him in the boat. There's no leaving him in the water. You got to get that fish over the rail as quickly as possible. So when you gaff him and you get him in the boat, if you don't have a bat or something to pop him in the head, get whoever's with you. You control the gaff. You control the gaff, and whoever's with you is going to grab that fish's body. He's going to kind of get down on his knees, and he's going to hold that fish down on the deck, and he's just going to hold him there until you can get the gaff out, and then you can pop him in the head. You can stick a pick in his brain. You kill him somehow. You want to kill him. You want to kill him as soon as possible.
I've seen some of those videos. They were taking their gaff. As soon as they'd gaff them, they'd put them in the box with the gaff still in them, and then just let them raise hell in the box.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, a lot of guys are going to be more experienced than I am, but I wouldn't leave the gaff in the fish and throw it in the main. What if the fish kicks out of the box? I mean, he's going to be kicking around with a. No,
I mean they gaff them, and then they when they throw them in the box, they take the gaff out of them. They just use the gaff till they get them in the box, and then pop the gaff out of them.
If you got a boat, but you ain't got no fish box, you've taken a 150 quart igloo. You're not going to be able to do that.
Pour him in that igloo cooler, shuts the lid on his ass.
No, you can. You definitely can, but I think that's going to. You're going to want to do. You're going to want to practice with that. But maybe you can go. We never done that. We held him on the deck. One guy held him down while I took the gaff out. Then I killed him, and then we put him in the box. Oh, but I have seen guys, like you're saying, gaff them and take them straight to the box with the gaff. You can do that, but they could come off. So it just depends on how well you have him gaffed and where you have him gaffed, I guess.
Those cobia that we put on the boat up there, what was crazy about that was we couldn't kill them or knock them in the head with nothing. We had to try to leave them alive, get the hook out of them, and then put them back in the water.
Mm-hmm. Well, mahi
cobia tear some shit up.
They will. A mahi is a lot worse than a cobia, though.
Oh, really?
Those fish out there, the mahis, the wahoos, kings they're pretty bad too. But yeah, once you get out offshore and you start getting those fish that are out there in that blue water, out there in that Gulf Stream,
yeah,
you're looking at it's a whole nother level out there. They will. Those are some monsters, even the small ones.
God, Barry, let me tell you something, homeboy. You don't worry about me catching one first. I caught my first striper, and I blew the whole striper fishing community up. So you can bet your ass I'm going to do it in saltwater too, brother.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm going to be holding up a 40-pound wahoo and saying, how you like me now?
It's fishing, no matter how you look at it. You're not guaranteed to catch fish. All you can do is try to go where you think they could be and troll.
If I get bored, I'll throw something with a piece of dead cut bait across the boat or something, catch a shark. I'm gonna catch something.
That's a tough pill to swallow, is to go 50 plus miles offshore and get skunked. But it could happen. It happens to charter captains all the time. You're not likely. I mean, yes, you can easily catch sharks if you wanted to, but when you're going out there to target, that would be like going to Tennessee to trophy striper fish and targeting largemouth or something. You're just not going to want to do that if you're going out for wahoo.
Yeah. Well, like I said, though, just enjoying every aspect of fishing. And every time I've ever been in saltwater, especially when I'm going out to the Gulf Stream, we get on Kelly's boat. He's got a 38-foot Triton, and he's got the autopilot on his motors. As soon as we get out of Merle's Inlet, he'll put the numbers where we want to start, put it on autopilot. We're riding for 4.5 hours. They drinking beer, listening to Hank Williams Jr. telling fish stories. Mm-hmm. Never touched a boat till a beep goes off that we're 15 minutes from our destination.
Wow.
Just the boat ride in, and but now you're talking about a $275,000 boat. I've got a $30,000 overnighter. So
we went out of, actually this particular trip, we weren't offshore fishing. It was when we very first went to Virginia Beach, My cousin and I had no idea how to catch the saltwater ocean stripers. We had stopped and bought us a bunch of eels, and we put in at Rudy Rudy Inlet, and we went like 15 miles out. And it's right there at the military base, naval base, there near Norfolk. So we get out there and we see an Apache helicopter, a couple of them practicing shooting those laser rounds down toward the ocean. And then we see like this big Coast Guard ship. And anyways, they ended up deploying a Zodiac on us. 6 armed Coast Guard guys come flying up on us on a turbo diesel Zodiac with a turret gun on the front of it, and all 6 of them had M16s. And they asked if we cared if they built the vessel, and they checked our safety equipment. They asked us what we were targeting, what we were doing out there, and they let us go. They weren't very nice. So anyways, we end up messing around, dicking around out there trying to catch stripers. Little did we know they were nowhere near there. So we're not even supposed to be targeting them out that far. We couldn't find them inside 3 miles. So we were like, screw it. Let's go beyond 3 miles. Let's try to find them. So these first few days, we're just out there searching, trying to find stripers. We're not finding anything. Well, one of those days we stayed out there till dark. And on that trip, we had our friend Jared with us, and Jared was driving the boat on our way back in. Jared had this boat. This was when we were actually still fishing out of the Bayliner 175, the walk-through windshield boat. So he's got this boat. It's like 10, 11 o'clock at night. It's dark, and like I told you, we just saw that giant Coast Guard battleship out there. There's these big old ships out there. There's these giant big old metal buoys out there. When you're out there at night and when you see a red light like on a buoy, you can't tell if it's 2 miles away or 10 miles away when you're out there at night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So my buddy Jared, he was the kind of guy that he didn't want you telling him what to do. He didn't want you looking over his shoulder. He wanted, if he was driving, he didn't want you questioning him. He was like that. So I'm scared to death because this dude has got this Bayliner going 43 miles an hour. That was top speed on that boat. He's got the hammer down. This is back when the Gen 1 HDS had just come out, and it had mapping, navionics. So he's staring at the navionics, and it's bright. He don't even have it turned down. And man, I'm looking around, man, and it's looking like we're getting ready to hit a darn ship out there. And I'm like, he's just wide open, looking down at the map, just wide open out there, coming back into the Rudy Inlet right there at Chesapeake Bay. Got to be careful out there. Lucky we didn't die that night.
At night, I use my mapping, but at night, I get that thing as dim as I can. And, you're mapping, and it tells you do not totally rely on this for navigational purposes.
Right.
If I can't see good at night, if I don't have a moon, at least a quarter moon or a half moon, I'm not going to go flying.
Exactly.
I want to be able to see so far away from me.
Exactly.
I don't give a damn about no mapping.
Mm-hmm.
Because the mapping's not going to tell you if there's a boat up there that don't have lights on it or somebody sitting up there cut baiting.
Yeah.
And you're going 40 miles an hour, and by the time you do see them, if you're lucky enough to see them, you can't get out of it in time.
Yeah,
even on the all the way up in neutral and throw your ass out the front of the boat.
I mean, even on your good nights, I really don't like going much over 30 miles an hour at night. I just don't like doing it. I mean, if you're open water, you got your night vision has settled in, you got a full moon, you can see,
you can actually see the moon off the water.
On nights like that, okay, yeah, I'm okay with it. But like anything other than that, I really don't like much over 30.
But it's going to be a long learning experience. But like I said, I'm not. It's not like freshwater. I'm just not going to take that boat and go down there at Merle's Inlet or go to the closest saltwater ramp I can find and go out in the ocean and just start trying to catch a fish. Anybody in their right mind shouldn't do nothing like that. Now, freshwater fishing, fuck it. I got a boat, went to Russell and drug. Hell, I bet I drowned 300 trout down there before I finally caught a fish. But like you said, it's just totally, totally different. Just difference like night and day.
Yeah,
so.
It is. You got this Ballyhoo skipping on the top of the water at a couple mile an hour, and how in the world is anything going to hit that? But,
yeah, and flying fish everywhere, and and then sharks swim up under your boat that's bigger than the damn boat you're in, and then you never know what you're going. Can you hear that, Todd Smith?
Clothes are dry.
Clothes are dry, and then you never know what you're going to catch. You could be targeting. You might be out there just, trying to catch dolphin, wind up with a 30, 40-pound Yahoo. You never know what's going to, and you'll probably catch shit that you'd least expect that you'd catch. And then, like I said, and then there again, you can always, there's a couple, I think there's some reefs about 20 miles out of Merle's Inlet. Kelly's going to send me some numbers on them.
I fished them.
He's got some bottom fish, Wes. He said, you'll catch something.
There's a good AR out there at 20. There's one at 10 and there's one at 3.
What reefs?
Yep.
It says it's a man-made reef.
Yeah, the one at 20 they actually got a buoy out there at it, so you'll know you actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you could be like, okay, there it is.
Well, Kelly said if I would buy that on Navionics, the G4 map card, he said,
yeah, you got to have a map card.
Yeah, he said that'll tell you all you need to know out there. Now he's got the Vision, he's got the Navionics Vision Plus, but he said that'll actually show you all your drop-offs.
Probably costs $150.
No, it's actually $275, I think.
Yeah, okay, that's a good one then.
Yeah, but I'm gonna order that.
That's a cheap investment. You got to have that.
Yeah. So, like I said, I've dropped a lot of money in this thing already, but this is just kind of getting started.
Hey, check out Roffs, Wes.
Huh?
Check out Roffs, ROFFS.
Oh yeah, it tells you the temperature breaks and stuff.
Yeah, it'll send you the temp breaks.
But there again, and it's like Tennessee. If you got somebody going with you, splitting the bill, it ain't that bad. And like I said, I just don't want to go by myself. I'm not going out in the ocean by myself. If I, like me and Lori go to the beach and I take the boat, I might go out in Winyah Bay on, somewhere like that. There's plenty of boats around my radial reach if I have any trouble. Most cases in Winyah Bay, if I sink a boat, I can still stand on top of it because it's a very shallow bay. But am I going to go out in the ocean by myself in a boat? No. I know a few people do it, but especially not in my boat.
All right, Wes. It's been a good one, brother.
Shit, we rolling, man. We still got 9 viewers. I know we only been on here 2 hours. Are you kidding me?
It's 11 o'clock.
Is it really?
Yeah. I got to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
All right. Well, I'm gonna let you go because I ain't got to get up to about 7:30. Then I got to go to Gus's and sit there and drink 4 cups of coffee, and then I'll get woke up and get the day started.
Good night, guys. Good night, Wes.
Good night, everybody.
See you guys next week.
See y'all next Tuesday, unless I get a wild hair up my ass and we want to do another one.
Peace.